Welcome to our regular Wednesday posting. This week, I'm reading from the Glossary, as always, in my book, The Desire for Mutual Recognition, Social Movements, and the Dissolution of the False Self. And today's term is the perfect other. What is the perfect other? This is a term I use to describe the tendency of a person who is not seen for who he or she actually is in his or her being, but who is mainly seen as an other or as an image, to seek to inflate this image of self as other in order to try to fill up what in the image, appears to be lacking. Since such an image disconnected from, and therefore floating on the outside of one's actual being, can never find the authentic recognition and connection that is missing, the image can never be filled up, no matter how much it aggrandizes itself, and the person suffering within the image, lacking in being, knows this. Therefore, the person, alas, all of us in part, seeks to become a perfect other that would no longer feel the lack, the absence, the ontological hole at the core.
So here's the idea of that is that to the extent that we're conditioned to become this performative self, you can sense that it's lacking in being, as I've said. The performative self. I'm a good boy. I'm doing well in school. I raise my hand in class. How am I doing? I mean, I'm trying to be the good boy that is projected onto me to be. That's how I'm trying to realize my connection with the other, through that performative outer self. But I can sense that outer self is not really anchored to me present here. I'm out there. I know the answer. And when you're out there, because you can feel the lack of being in that performance that you're doing over and over again, what do you try to do? You try to make it perfect, because you can sense that it's lacking something. Maybe if I get better and better and better and better and more and more and more become this other that I'm supposed to be, my goal would be to be the perfect other that is completely at one with the role I'm supposed to perform perfectly in a way that didn't feel this lack anymore, that it's just nothing. So in the present historical moment, we have a president who is stuck in this very public display of, having to always be greater and greater and greater and greater. I mean, it's not great enough, and he always feels under attack, and so he has to continue to inflate himself and inflate himself and inflate himself, as if there would be some ideal point when finally he would feel full. The perfect other is the goal of the alienated person, to become the perfect other that would not feel its own lack of being. Now, the only answer to otherness, the only actual solution to it, is to anchor yourself in your own actual being with others, through a parallel universe, through love, through comradeship, through authentic mutuality. That's when you really can recover from the conditioning to be other. But the illusion that you have when you're trapped in otherness is that the path is to become the perfect image, a perfect version of the image that's projected onto you. Men working out in the gym, endlessly working out. I mean, bodybuilders grossly distorting their bodies, trying to become perfect outer thing, a perfect outer thing. Women, of course, have parallel traps that are reflected most extremely in plastic surgery on the outer self, trying to create the perfect outer self that would then finally be enough for the other that they imagine they're trying to please in their mind. So a male and a female example, but I mean, this is the ontology, the social ontology of the false self, the underlying lack of being in it and the distortion that it produces. So that's the desire to become the perfect other.